Alright guys, welcome back to the third video in this series. So this video is going to be wrapping up stuff, so we still have to put, front axle back in, we got to do drive shafts, just kind of get everything together so that the truck can get back on the road. So stick around, we'll jump right in, and hell, if you like it, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't, then no, hit the thumbs down. But anyways, let's roll. Well fellas, the frame is boxed, so yeah, I don't know. Don't need much. Just this one here, I had to put two pieces together, but it's still just fine. Then this one over here, that back one's boxed, and then the front one, it's boxed. And then I wanted to add a little bit more support, because since that upper is going to be seeing a lot of action, so I just built a little connector from the top to the bottom out of some quarter, and I think that's going to work. And then the plates, the box plates are just 1/8 inch, so yeah, we got enough. I think we're okay. I'm just going to add some little gussets right behind these, just kind of angle them back, sort of how the front or how the lowers look. So hell to the yeah, we're coming along, getting ready to shoot some black on them and then start installing everything. We're looking pretty good in the rear, so focus my attention today on the front. It's basically been burning and more burning, so got the got burning on basically everything up here. I still need to pull these guys off right here and do some finish welding on them, and then we'll be ready to put this bad boy in. So I painted her up black. I sort of left the diff cover not painted because I was thinking about mounting the ram off of it. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but we'll see how it pans out. So the ram, if I'm lucky, hopefully I can put it right here, come right off the tube with it. So we might could do that, but I did want to put a splash of paint on it before I put it in. So that's it, just some dirty old flux core welding. And I ran out of wire today, so that kind of slowed me up. Last Sunday, I ran out. I usually put a 10-pounder in there, and they didn't have any at Lowe's, so then I burned through 2 1-pounders this week, so bummer. So I got out yesterday and painted up the axle, so she's almost ready to go back in. And it's been a lot of welding, a lot of finish welding, so that's really all I've been doing all weekend is welding. So the back stuff's done. The front stuff's coming along, like all this stuff is welded in, cleaned up. I shortened this guy down a little bit, kind of softened the edges. Same with that guy. So I think it looks better. You can see remember how it looked before. So I got to pull this off, finish doing some welding on it, pop a couple more beads, and then I can clean those up and paint this stuff, and we can get the axle back up underneath it. Then probably start working on, I don't know, I think I want to get the axle assembled so that I can actually have it sitting on wheels. And then once that's done, we'll get our plates on for our power steering box. And probably got to build a cross member, and then I want to build a winch bumper and stuff, but that'll come later. But hell yeah, we're gonna keep on rolling. All right, fellas, here we go. Update. Oh, it's this morning now because I didn't finish till like midnight, but yeah, so links are in, axle's in, and I had to finish up, doing some welding to these guys and cleaning this stuff up, just to, trim everything off. But hell to the yeah, we're coming together. So kind of final assembly on the front. Got a couple things I need to finish welding on the axle that I forgot about, but you know what I mean, it happens. Anyway, so yeah, so tonight gonna get back out here. I'm gonna build the axle, so we're gonna just completely assemble that, get it ready. I gotta work on shaping this arm a little bit, and then we're gonna do power steering box, then drive lines, then brake lines, then harness, and get the sucker rolling. We got 2 weeks. It is now an 8-lug axle, and it's a 410. So basically what happened with this axle here is it was 373. I needed to make it 410. So I basically borrowed the stuff out of this axle, swapped it all in here, shims and all, just slammed it in. Well, you didn't get an update today because when I put it together, normally when you're setting up gears, you've got the pinion and the ring gear and all that stuff's there. Well, I was just swapping it over, so I threw the carrier in, I threw the axles in and stuff, and then dawned on me in the shower this morning that I didn't put the pinion in. So then I had to take it back apart today, but that's okay. It set me back a little bit, but anyway, so I got the knuckles all on yesterday, so that works. And yeah, so we're good to go. She's on all 4s right now, and super happy. I put the panhard bar in, got that all secured, and just set it down. And so the main thing I was worried about is these front springs, because you know they're super soft, you know, so they're long but they're soft, and so they like squatted quite a bit. So I'm like 3.5 off a bump there, and I'm 3 inches off the bump in the back. So the most important thing is that the truck's sitting pretty damn level. So those tires are chilling on the back, so they're kind of representing, you know, obviously it's going to get cut here, but they're sort of representing gas tank and a little toolbox ish. And so these are still touching the ground, but barely. Like I can lift up on them, so you know they're just barely touching right now. So hell to the yeah, we're on all fours. I think the truck's looking good, so hell yeah. Well, here we go. So we got the sleeves up in through here, and we got the box plates on right here. So you can see how I do my box plates. You know, I just stitch it in along the way. I think welding the whole thing is just wasting wire, so I'll just stitch, 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 you know, not all in the same place. But anyway, so then I drilled these guys out, and I already had the sleeves made, and popped them in there, and good to go. So I'm gonna get the box up in here, and I'll show you what that looks like. These lower ones, you know, they're welded all the way on both sides, but you know, if they get hit with a rock really hard, you know, it might cause a little thing. So I'm just gonna build something that kind of goes over them, basically a skid, and just add a little more support to them. But that is about it on that. So the box is in there and it's solid. So tomorrow I'm gonna get out, figure out where I wanna put my heim. That way everything steers good. Like I said, we're threading the needle right there. So if I break a motor mount or something, this thing's gonna rub like a mofo, but you know, it's all good. You know, it's what we got to do to crawl rocks, and I needed that right there, and we're going to make it work. And then tomorrow, going to get out here, finish up my tie rod, drag link. That way I'll make all the steering work. And then I'm going to put my hydraulic ram on, and we'll go from there. So tie rod and the drag link are lengthened and up in there. So I gotta do some finish welding on them, but yeah, I got them the right size. Those are all good. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but got it done. So everything as far as the steering goes is up in there. I need a couple of nuts and bolts, but other than that, everything is cool. That's what I got here. Went with just a 3/4 inch bolt, and then I sort of shaped my steering arm. I'm gonna add another stud to it, but this is just kind of mock up, but it clears the wheel just like barely, you know, like barely. And I still got like a 1/4 inch of material on this side, which, yeah, I don't know, probably want a little bit more, but I get a different wheel, I'll just whip up another arm. But that's how I did it there. I went with those 3/4 inch. They're not the high misalignment, just a regular alignment. So I got those up in there. And all right, so here we go. Here's the steering shaft, how it comes down. Has to kind of come over and do a kind of a little bit of an angle down there, but I got the heim in, so it is kind of, you know, letting it pass through those steering lines down there, and it's doing a pretty good job. Now the only issue that I'm having with it is, and let me show you here, is that I've got there's just a little bit of movement there. Let me get from the side and show you, but see, there's just like a little bit of movement. So as far as in the cab turning the steering wheel, like it feels pretty good, you know, like you don't really even feel anything. And I'm sure once the ram's on and you know, it's pumping fluid through it, it's going to turn fine. But I think I'm going to put one more heim right here just to hold it steady. So that's it. More tomorrow. All right, fellas, here we go. A little Sunday update. So here is the mount for the hydraulic ram. So yeah, I was thinking of a way to do it, and I was like, man, you know, I don't want to make big giant tabs. And I was like, the stud thing's kind of cool, you know. I had this big old hardened bolt, and I'm like, well, that ain't gonna hold up just welded to the axle, so let's just make a little bracket. So this is welded to the axle. The ram is just gonna slide right over this, and then yeah, I don't know, gives it plenty of support. It's welded to the bottom of the axle. And got some little side gussets, you know, one more gusset. You know, I'm trying not to weld more stuff because I'm tired of welding, but, you know, I always get stuck, I don't know, making something up, but it's gonna hold, I think, and good luck to the rock that hits it. So, hell yeah. So in the next video, I'll show you what it looks like all installed. Let me show it to you. So there it is, up on there. I've got to, there's a spacer behind it that I've got to trim down so I can get full engagement on the nut, but hell to the yeah. And then this guy, this was already done when I got the tie rod, and it's awesome. But anyways, I gotta beef it up. One of the welds is cracked. But yeah, so there you go. Hydraulic ram going to my little groovy custom mount there. And so basically how this whole thing works is you want this to be the stop. So when it's all the way pressed in, you don't want to be sitting on the stop over there, and when it's all the way this way, you don't want it to be sitting on the stop, but you also want to make sure that the box doesn't stop and then that's pushing. So basically if I disconnect the ram, I can go lock to lock with the box, but when the ram's on there, it stops right before it hits the locks, and we're good to go. All right, fellas, well, I came out here to do brake lines, and I had put the booster in, and then I was like, well, I got to get in it, so I cleaned it out, and then I'm like, well, let's do some sound deadening. So got this stuff here from Noico. The stuff worked amazing in the K20. So I got some extra left here from that job, actually. So let's pop it in and sound deaden this sucker. So we're here. We got to do it anyway, so let's get rolling. All right, you ready for the knock test? Yeah, sounds pretty solid there, huh? Now look at this side. Yep. All right, so here we go. So the cab's pretty well done. And, you know, you don't have to get like full 100% coverage, you know, like I'd say it's like 90% or something like that, you know what I mean? So I got up on the firewall, put some up underneath the dash, you know, stuff like that, just anything helps, you know, and then like behind this bolster and stuff like that, you know, anywhere where it's hollow. So like I said, and you don't got to cover the whole thing because, you know, as long as most of the panel's covered, yeah, all right. But, you know, if you want to do the whole thing, it ain't going to hurt nothing. The most important part of this is a 315 mil closed cell foam. Good for insulation when I did the K20. And if you have any questions on that, I got a video on my YouTube channel where I did the K20. This stuff's amazing as far as like the thermal aspect of keeping things cool. And I'm sure it helps with sound too. It's a pretty thick. Found $1 in the truck, so that's pretty awesome. And then tomorrow going to get out in the day, and I'm going to shorten the rear drive shaft, extend the front drive shaft, and then I don't know, we'll do something else after that. All right, fellas, here we go. Lengthen the front drive shaft. And I know what you're saying. Well, maybe you're not saying it. I don't know. But anyways, this is it. That's how I'm doing it. So this is actually 120 wall 2-inch tubing. I used a piece of 250 wall DOM actually, because that's, you know, I got leftover from my links. You know, we got to use leftovers so that we can save money on this project. So that's what I did. So, you know, I got some pretty good beads all the way around, and she's good to go. We're going to paint it black and we're going to run it. As far as how I did it, I used these old exhaust clamps here, and I clamped a piece of angle here, I tacked it, and then I checked it. It was good, burned it. Then I tacked this side, I put it in, did a fit test. I think it's pretty good. And then I burned it. So now we're gonna paint it black, pop it in the truck, and we'll call this front drive shaft DONE. I don't have to pay the sorry ass driveline shops any money today because they will take you to the cleaners. So yeah, so that's gonna work. You know, for rock crawling application, I wouldn't put this in your daily, but you know, you could, I suppose. Now on the rear drive shaft, it's pretty thin, so I'm gonna have to cut the flange off, shorten it, and then weld it back on. So let's give that a shot next. All right, fellas, rear drive shaft is done. Yeah, my finest weld job there. Anyways, it's gonna hold up. It's welded all the way around, and hell to the yeah. So anyways, had to take like, I don't know, like 15 inches out of it. So anyways, and you know, I took it out of the other truck, but so the only thing about this one here, I could have taken it for pretty cheap to a driveline shop and had them shorten it, but this is pretty thin tube. It's not even 120 wall, and it's not going to last very long. So I'm just going to use it for a while, beat it up, and then when I have to redo it, I'm gonna make one out of like 188 or something like that, so it'll hold up. But anyways, I'm gonna pop these in, show them to you, and hell yeah, one more thing off the list. All right, fellas, here we go. Update for the afternoon. So got the front shaft up in there. I probably should have made it just a touch longer. However, it slips well, so if it falls out testing this weekend, I will let you know. And anyways, and then I got the back one here. So she's chilling up in here. It took like 15 inches out of it. And but I did pretty good as far as that one. So it's only like a little over an inch. So we'll see. And then there's my dilemma there. So I'm gonna get this sucker, and I'm only like 3 inches off a bump. So I think it might clear the cross member, but we'll see. So yeah, we'll do some testing and we'll find out. All right, fellas, here's the current situation. We got harness getting ready to go up in here. And last night did the brakes. So I was able to kind of relocate this sucker and was able to use all like the stock lines, which was pretty awesome. So I just welded the nuts to that cross member there. But you know, it works and it's out of the way. You know, like I'm gonna push this over so you know that there's no way for the panhard to hit it. And yeah, so then these other ones, what I ended up doing is I used the old shock tabs and I just opened up the hole and was able to mount the lines right through there. So I just got to basically tie these up so they're not moving or hitting anything. And then the same on the other side. So last night I got fluid through it, gravity bled it a couple times, and it still needs a proper bleeding, obviously, but you know, it's moving fluid, and I pumped it, and I ain't got no leaks. Came out this morning and checked it. So in the back, how it works, I had these brake lines made for my rear disc, but they actually went into a fit to the banjo fitting, so I was actually able to use them. So hell to the yeah. Harness is basically ran. It's got to hook up some O2s and front ground and blah, blah, blah. But rear grounds, everything in the back's hooked up. Injectors are hooked up. I got to put the coil packs on. And then we're rolling. And then on the inside, I'm just going to use this hole and just make a cover for it that way, because I hate slipping that thing through that stupid hole there. And then on the inside, I just got to figure out where to mount the PCM, which is going to be right there on the wall. And so I got to mount that, mount the fuse panel and the OBD2. Yeah, man. And then I whipped this up today / tonight. And basically my tank cradle, and it just needed to be elevated since it used to sit down in here, but now all this is gone. So hell yeah, more tomorrow. All right, so we're busting. Sean, he got front and rear diff filled up, sealed up, good to go. I don't think we got any more leaks. Good job, Sean. Dave is we're doing getting some old stuff out, gonna put some fresh stuff in. And then, you know, coil packs, transcooler lines, getting ready to put the water pump on. And then we just keep going, you know what I'm saying? So I got all the steering stuff done last night. Night before we did shocks and stuff, got everything welded up the way it needed to be. Everything's on, everything's tight. So we're going to keep going. I'll bring you in. All right, fellas, here's the 1:40 in the morning update. Made progress. My one buddy just left. Got a lot done. Pretty much, it's pretty well wired. The fuel lines are hooked up. Got fresh gas in it. It's basically, you know, a lot of tedious stuff, like stuff not wanting to go together right. So working that out now. And got a lot of stuff to tie up. Still got to just wire the PCM, really get a power wire to it. And then everything should work. And then I just got to put the front end together, but you know, I got to check everything like 4 times, make sure it's good. And with the core support moving back, you can see how the stock LS fan is. Looks like it's going to fit in there pretty well. I got to trim that shroud, but hell yeah. So anyways, I'm going to keep rolling on this, and I'll give you another update here in a while. We'll see what happens. So just to give you a little background here, my buddies came over because the next day I was supposed to go out on a test run. And you'll see from the next clip that it ultimately didn't happen. But, you know, it took a week longer, but we still got her done. All right, fellas, here we go. 4 a.m. and it ain't gonna happen. So we busted hard and just sort of ran out of time. We ran into some clearance issues with core support and some lines. So we had to do some trimming and stuff. And then I was going to use a mechanical fan, but that didn't work out because the shroud was just, it wasn't going good. So just fitment issues with it, and it was hitting the fan, and I don't know, just sucked. So then I took that off and then swap water pumps and then back to electric fan. So I got to wire that. And basically, I just need to look at it with some fresh eyes. I just don't want to do something sloppy and make a mistake and have an issue. So that's it, you know. Just I gave it hell. We gave it hell, and you know, it is what it is. So we'll plug away this weekend, probably get it all wrapped up, and probably take a little time, especially with the wiring and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of thought it would happen a little faster than it did, but anyways, have a good night. I just wanted to give you an update since, you know, yesterday we didn't do it. So I came out here today, swept the shop, just started getting into it. So basically where I finished last night was transcooler. So I got transcooler up in there, just made some little brackets up for it. And then I put a cross member in last night, so I didn't show that to you. So this stuff's coming along. Then got the hose or the belt routed, got the hoses on, and put the intake piping up there. I think it's going to work out well in this location. I'll probably end up making a little standoff off of this shock mount just to keep it from moving around, and then we'll be pretty good. So I'm going to keep rolling on it, and I'd like to get her started today, maybe later tonight, but that's what we're gonna work on now. So I think next up I'm gonna do exhaust. And then once it's running and everything's cool and tied up, then I'll put the fenders and stuff on. So hell to the yeah, let's keep going. I just gave power to it, let the fuel pump prime about 5 times. And I didn't see any white smoke, so we're pretty good. I'm gonna add coolant, and what else do I need to do? Really, I'm gonna add some coolant. I still have to wire the fans. I still have to do the oil pressure wire and for the interior gauge, and then the interior gauge wire for the temperature inside. But you know, we can do that later. I just really want to give power to it, make sure everything's working, and crank her over, make sure she fires, runs, and then we'll clean everything up after we figure out if there's, you know, no problems or anything. So that's it on the inside. Just cleaned up some wiring. You can see where I mounted the PCM. So, all right, so bring you in when we get her started. Yeah, I can dig it. And there's a 40 showing up. Sean got the 40s.
We got some stickies for you here.
Some
Not
stickies?
really stickies though.
They'll work.
They should do. They'll get you through a season.
Hell yeah. All right, let's get unloaded. All right, my delivery driver's leaving. Jesus, guys, what the hell am I gonna do with these things? Other than mount them up tomorrow, pronto, ASAP, because I'm gonna have some trimming to do. So yeah, it is what it is. So hell to the yeah, I'm gonna get rolling, tie everything up, hook up a couple things, get my fans going, and then drive this mofo out of the garage. So seems like a fine idea. The 40's all mounted on here, and I definitely had to trim this out, but they don't hit the links, which is good. So I can go lock to lock. Doesn't hit the links. And the only spot it was close to was right here. Now, obviously, I need to put my fender up here, probably trim it a little bit, and then I need to add some more supports in here. But yeah, so got in here, tied up some stuff in the engine bay. So try to make it a little bit neat. I still need to put a piece of sheet metal or something over that hole there. And I wired in my fan also. So yeah, man, she's coming along, but I wanted to show you what it looked like on the 40s. And I know I'm gonna kill this 10 bolt probably on the first trail, but every time I look at it, these 40s just make me smile. So there they are from the side. They're just big mofos, but in the back, everything's looking pretty good. Pretty good clearance from that sucker. And then over here, a little bit closer, so I may need to trim, but we'll go out and test and see what happens. All right, fellas, here we go. She drove out on her own. Yeah. Got the fenders on, had to trim them. But I really only had to trim up here, so that's not bad. Still got a little more work to do on them. And I don't know if you can see this side very well, but hell yeah, probably gonna put on the grill. But right now I'm gonna put the seat in it and wrap up a couple things, maybe put the hood on, and then maybe take it out tomorrow and just go hit a dirt road. All right, after this, it was just basically getting out to the local spot, doing some flex testing, seeing what rubbed, and if you see there in the picture, you can tell that my tire was pushed up pretty hard against the fender, and so I ended up having to extend the bumps about an inch, and then I ended up adding some limit straps, and then after that, it was basically just go out and beat the hell out of it for a while. So I just been running trails, man, hard trails, just getting it out, shaking it down, and so far, so good. Here's a video of it crawling. So on here, you just want to point out that, you know, this 10 bolt, it's spooled, rear end spooled, and that ram, it don't care. Like, the steering wheel turns like a 76 Eldorado, and I haven't had any issues yet. So I thought the 10 bolt would go by now, and it's probably going to go soon, but it's been holding up. So we're just going to keep running it, keep bringing spare axles and see what happens. That's it. It's finished. Done. We're willing now. We still got a lot to do, but she's climbing some rocks. I'm happy. Can get out and go do some stuff. Appreciate you guys watching the videos. Appreciate all the support on Instagram when I post my nightly updates. You guys help me keep going. So to that I say thank you, and you guys take it easy, and we'll catch you on the next one.